listening to the Holy Bible 1-Year Challenge with Master Storyteller Michael Wood, featuring the easy-to-read version and used by permission from Bible League International. Enjoy the show!
Hello everyone, welcome to day 20. We're continuing in the book of Genesis, moving forward with the narrative of Joseph. We see his special talent for interpreting dreams. First, we'll see his use of this talent in prison, which will then give him a ticket to have an audience with the Pharaoh himself. And remember, the Pharaoh has his own mystics and spiritual guides at his disposal. Where will Joseph stand compared to them? Stay with us and find out. And we're also continuing in the book of Matthew. In chapter 14 of Matthew, we hear some of the details of the tragic death of John the Baptist. And we hear what Jesus does when he hears news of it. And then Jesus does another kind of miracle nobody's seen before. But this miracle didn't just involve healing one person's hand. This involved more than 5,000 people. If you enjoy the show, visit me at patreon.com/storymaster. You'll find the link in the description box below. By contributing as little as $1 per month, you will enable me to continue this ministry, and you'll get cool rewards too. Together, we're going to get through the Bible in 1 year. Let's get started. Genesis chapter 40. Joseph explains 2 dreams. Later, 2 officials of the king of Egypt did something he did not like. One of them was the king's assistant in charge of his wine, and the other was the king's baker. So Pharaoh was angry with these 2 officials, and he had them locked up in the house of the captain of the palace guard. This was the same place where Joseph was being held. They were locked up there a long time. Joseph took care of them because the captain of the guard made him their personal servant. One night, these 2 men, the king's assistant and the king's baker, each had a dream, and each dream had a different meaning. When Joseph came to them the next morning, he could see that they were upset. So he asked them, "Why do you look so worried today?" They answered,
"We both had dreams last night, but we don't have anyone who could tell us what they mean."
Joseph said to them, "God is the only one who can tell us the meaning of dreams. Tell me about your dreams." The first dream. So the king's assistant told Joseph his dream.
"I dreamed I saw a vine, and on the vine were 3 branches. The branches began to produce buds, blossoms, and then bunches of grapes. I was holding Pharaoh's cup, so I took the grapes and squeezed the juice into the cup. Then I gave it to the king."
Joseph said, "This is the meaning of your dream. The 3 branches are 3 days. In 3 days the king will release you, and you will be the king's assistant again. You will serve the king his wine, just as you did before. But when things are going well for you, please remember me and do me this favor. Talk to the king about me and see if you can get me out of this prison. I was kidnapped and taken from the land of my people, the Hebrews. And since I arrived here, I have done nothing wrong. I don't deserve to be put in prison." The baker's dream. The king's baker saw that the other servant's dream was good. So he said to Joseph,
"I also had a dream. I dreamed I was carrying 3 bread baskets on my head. In the top basket were all kinds of things made for the king. Some birds were eating everything in the basket."
Joseph answered, "This is the meaning of your dream. The 3 baskets are 3 days. In 3 days, the king will release you. Then, you will have your head cut off and your body hanged on a pole, and the birds will eat it." 3 days later, it was Pharaoh's birthday, and he gave a party for all his officials. When they were all there, the king ordered that his assistant and baker be released and brought to him. The king told his assistant that he could have his job back. So the assistant filled the king's cup with wine and handed it to him. But Pharaoh ordered that his baker be hanged. So everything happened the way Joseph said it would. But the king's assistant did not remember to say anything to the king about Joseph. He forgot all about him. Genesis chapter 41, verses 1 through 40. Pharaoh's dreams. 2 years later, Pharaoh dreamed that he was standing by the Nile River. In the dream, 7 cows came out of the river and stood there, eating grass. They were fat and healthy. Then 7 more cows came out of the river and stood on the bank of the Nile beside the healthy cows. But these cows were thin and looked sick. The 7 thin, sick cows ate the 7 fat, healthy cows. Then the king woke up. When he went back to sleep and began dreaming again, this time he saw 7 heads of grain growing on one plant. They were healthy and full of grain. Then he saw 7 more heads of grain sprouting, but they were thin, burned by the hot desert wind. The thin heads of grain ate the 7 healthy, full heads of grain. Then Pharaoh woke up again and realized it was only a dream. The next morning, Pharaoh was troubled about these dreams, so he sent for all the magicians and wise men of Egypt. Pharaoh told them the dreams, but none of them could tell him the dreams meant. Then the king's assistant remembered Joseph and said to Pharaoh,
I remember something I forgot to do. One time when you were angry with your baker and me, you put us in prison. There we each had a dream one night, and each dream had a different meaning. The young Hebrew man, a servant of the captain of the palace guard, was in prison with us. We told him our dreams, and he told us the meaning of each dream. Then things happened exactly the way he said they would. I got my job back, and the baker was hanged.
So Pharaoh called for Joseph. The guards quickly went and got him out of prison. After he shaved and put on some clean clothes, he went and stood before the king. Pharaoh said to Joseph,
I had a dream, and no one can tell me what it means. I have heard that you can explain the meaning of a dream.
Joseph answered, My king, I cannot do this myself, but God will tell you what you need to know. Then Pharaoh said to Joseph,
In my dream, I was standing by the Nile River. 7 cows came up out of the river and stood there, eating the grass. They were fat and healthy. Then I saw 7 more cows come up out of the river, but these cows were thin and looked sick. They were the worst-looking cows I had ever seen anywhere in Egypt. And these thin, sick-looking cows ate the first 7 fat cows. But they still looked thin and sick. You couldn't even tell that they had eaten the healthy cows. They looked as thin and sick as they did in the beginning. Then I woke up. In my next dream, I saw 7 heads of grain growing on one plant. They were healthy and full of grain. And then 7 more heads of grain grew after them, but they were thin and dried up, burned by the hot desert wind. Then the thin heads of grain ate the 7 good heads. I told these dreams to my magicians, but no one could tell me what they mean.
And Joseph said to Pharaoh, Both of these dreams have the same meaning. God is telling you what he's planning to do. The 7 good cows in the first dream and the 7 good heads of grain in the second dream both mean there will be 7 good years. The 7 thin, sick-looking cows and the 7 heads of grain burned by the hot desert wind mean that 7 years of famine will follow the good years. This will happen just as I said. God has shown you in these dreams what He is planning to do. For 7 years there will be plenty of food in Egypt, but then there will be 7 years of famine. The people will be so hungry, they will forget how much food was in Egypt before. The famine will be so bad that people will not remember what it was like to have plenty of food. My king, you had 2 dreams with the same message. This means God has decided for sure to make this happen, and it will begin to happen soon. So, my king, you should choose a wise and capable man and put him in charge of the land of Egypt. Then, you should put some other men in charge of collecting food. They should gather 1/5 of the crops grown during the 7 good years. With your authority, they can collect all this food during the 7 good years and store it in the cities until it is needed. Then during the 7 years that the land of Egypt will not produce enough grain, there will still be enough food. Then the country will not be destroyed by famine. This seemed like a very good idea to Pharaoh, and all his officials agreed. Then Pharaoh told them,
I don't think we can find anyone better than Joseph for this job. Clearly, God's Spirit is in him.
So Pharaoh said to Joseph,
God has shown you all these things, so I think there is no one as wise and capable as you. I will put you in charge of my country, and all my people will follow your orders. I will be the only one more powerful than you.
Matthew chapter 14, verses 1 to 21. Herod thinks Jesus is John the Baptizer. About that time, Herod, the ruler of Galilee, heard what the people were saying about Jesus. So he said to his servants,
I think this man is really John the Baptizer. He must have risen from death, and that is why he can do these miracles.
Before this time, Herod had arrested John. He had him chained and put in prison. He arrested John because of Herodias, the wife of Philip, Herod's brother. John had told him, It is not right for you to be married to Herodias. Herod wanted to kill him, but he was afraid of the people. They believed that John was a prophet. On Herod's birthday, the daughter of Herodias danced for him and his group. Herod was very pleased with her, so he promised that he would give her anything she wanted. Herodias told her daughter what to ask for, so she said to Herod,
Give me the head of John the Baptizer here on a plate.
King Herod was very sad, but he had promised to give the daughter anything she wanted, and the people eating with Herod had heard his promise, so he ordered it to be done. He sent men to the prison, but they cut off John's head. They brought his head on a plate and gave it to the girl. She took it to her mother. John's followers came and got his body and buried it. Then they went and told Jesus what had happened. When Jesus heard what had happened to John, he left in a boat. He went alone to a place where no one lived. So they left their towns and followed him. They went by land to the same place. When Jesus got out of the boat, he saw a large crowd of people. He felt sorry for them, and he healed the ones who were sick. Late that afternoon, the followers came to Jesus and said,
No one lives in this place, and it is already late. Send the people away so they can go to the towns and buy food for themselves.
Jesus said, The people don't need to go away. You give them some food to eat. The followers answered, But we have only 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. Jesus said, Bring the bread and the fish to me. And he told the people to sit down on the grass. He took the 5 loaves of bread and the 2 fish. He looked into the sky and thanked God for the food. Then he broke the bread into pieces, which he gave to the followers, and they gave the food to the people. Everyone ate until they were full. Then the followers filled 12 baskets with the pieces of food that were not eaten. There were about 5,000 men there who ate. And there were also women and children who ate. Proverbs chapter 2, verses 12 to 22.
These will keep you from following the wrong path and will protect you from those who have evil plans. Such people have left the straight path and now walk in darkness. They enjoy doing evil and are happy with the confusion it brings. Their ways are crooked. They lie and cheat. Wisdom will save you from a sinful woman who tempts you with sweet words to join her in cheating on her husband. She married young and left her husband. She forgot the marriage vows she made before God. The road to her house is a road to death. She will lead you to the grave. No one who enters there can return to the life he once had. Wisdom will help you follow the example of good people and stay on the right path. Honest people will live in the land, and those who do right will remain there. But the wicked will be forced to leave. Those who lie and cheat will be thrown out of the land.
Thank you, everyone. That was day 20. Join us for day 21. A terrible famine begins in Egypt, and Joseph gets an opportunity to face down the brothers who sold him into slavery. And in the book of Matthew, Jesus performs one of the miracles he is known for from all around the world. He walks on water. In the meanwhile, Jerusalem, the capital of the Jewish world, sends its big guns after Jesus, the head Pharisees and teachers of the law, to challenge what Jesus is teaching the people. We hope you enjoyed today's verses. Be sure to leave us a positive review and to share this podcast with your friends and family. Please join us for the next episode as we experience the Bible in 1 year.
Did you know we offer online courses in creative writing, literature, and web design? Visit us at storymaster.online to learn more.